All right, welcome. So you've done the hard work. You've built your generative AI model, you've tweaked the prompts, and you've got something running. That is a massive accomplishment. But the job isn't done. In fact, maybe the most important part is just getting started. That's what we're digging in today. How to go beyond just building a model to actually grading its performance using Amazon Bedrock.
And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Your model is up and running, and it seems to be working okay. But how can you be sure? How do you move past a gut feeling and objectively prove that it's accurate, effective, and reliable enough for your customers? Well, that's exactly what we're going to tackle right now.
Here's our game plan. First, we'll cover why you absolutely have to evaluate your models. Then we'll take a tour of the incredible toolkit Bedrock gives you, looking at both automated metrics and, yes, getting humans involved. We'll even dive into the special case of grading RAG systems. And finally, we'll see how all this data turns into smart, confident decisions.
Okay, first things first. Why do we even need to bother with all this formal evaluation? I mean, can't you just poke it with a few test prompts and see what happens? Well, you could, but trust me, that's a risky game to play in the long run.
Look, this is what it's all about. Proper evaluation takes you from that vague, yeah, it seems to work feeling to having hard, cold data you can stand behind. It's how you prove the ROI of your AI project. It's how you find those sneaky weaknesses before your customers do. And it's how you can compare Model A against Model B and know for sure which one is better for the job. It's all about deploying with confidence.
So, how do you get that data? Well, Amazon Bedrock doesn't just hand you a single wrench. It gives you an entire toolkit. Think of it like a workshop, where every tool is perfectly designed for a very specific kind of job.
You've got 3 core methods here, and it really helps to think about them strategically. You can start with automated evaluation to get a quick, scalable score against industry standards. Then, you can bring in an LLM as a judge to have one AI grade another on more subtle, complex tasks. And finally, for the things that only a person can truly judge, like brand voice or creativity, you bring in the human evaluation team.
All right, let's dive into the first 2 tools in our kit, automated evaluation and LLM as a judge. The cool thing about both of these is they lean on machines to get you answers, and to get them fast.
So when do you use which one? Well, think of automated evaluation as your rapid-fire QA test. It's awesome for checking things like factual accuracy or toxicity across thousands of examples, really fast. The LLM as a judge, on the other hand, is more like your expert critic. You bring it in when you need to score those more subjective qualities, things like the style of the response, its overall coherence, or if it followed your specific instructions.
A huge advantage of automated evaluations is that they use standard pre-built datasets. So if you're building a Q&A bot, it can be tested against a dataset like Trivia QA using a metric that balances precision and recall. If it's a summarization model, it can use something called BERT score, which is smart enough to compare the meaning of sentences, not just matching keywords. This gives you an instant benchmark against industry standards.
And what if you want to test it with your own data? Now, don't let this little snippet of code scare you. It's actually super simple. All you need is a plain text file in a format called JSON-L. Each line just has 2 things, the prompt you gave the model and the reference response, which is just the perfect ground truth answer you were hoping for. That's it.
Now, when you use another LLM as the judge, you unlock some really powerful ways to score responses. You can ask it, is this answer factually correct? Is it complete, or did it miss part of the question? And this one is huge. Faithfulness. Is the model making stuff up? Is it hallucinating? You can even check for harmful content, or if the model is refusing to answer questions when it really shouldn't be.
But machines can only take you so far. For the most nuanced, the most subjective, and the most important judgments, sometimes you've got to bring in the humans. I mean, think about it. How does a machine really know if a response fits your company's quirky brand voice, or tell you if something is genuinely creative? Or, maybe most importantly, how does it know which of 2 perfectly good answers a real user would just prefer? This is where human evaluation is absolutely essential. It closes that final gap.
And don't worry, setting up a human evaluation isn't just a free-for-all. It's a really clear 4-step process. First, you decide exactly what you want people to measure. Then, you build your team. This could be your own internal experts. Step 3, and this is critical, is you give them crystal clear instructions so everyone is grading the same way. Then, you just launch the job and let that invaluable human feedback start rolling in.
And you get a ton of options for how you want people to give that feedback. You can keep it simple with a thumbs up/down. You could show them 2 responses and have them pick the best one. You could ask them to rank several options from best to worst.
Or, for more detail, you can use a classic 5-point scale. You get to design the right feedback method for the question you're asking. Okay, let's get specialized for a minute and talk about something super important: evaluating RAG systems. Retrieval-augmented generation. These are the models that go look stuff up in a knowledge base before they give you an answer.
Now, when you grade a RAG system, you're really looking at two different things. You can do a retrieve-only test, where the big question is just, did it find the right stuff? Did it pull the most relevant documents from your knowledge base? Or you can test the whole pipeline with a retrieve and generate evaluation. The question there is, did it find the right stuff? And did it then use that information to write a good, accurate answer?
Okay, so that leads to the obvious question. How do you actually grade this? What are the specific metrics you use to measure how well a RAG system is doing its job? You're really looking at three key things. First is context relevance. Are the documents it retrieved even on topic? Second, there's that word again, faithfulness. This is critical for RAG. Did the final answer stick only to the facts it found in those documents, or did it start hallucinating? And finally, citation precision. If the answer provides sources, are they actually the right ones?
So you've done all this work. You've run your automated tests, your AI judges, your human evaluations. What's the payoff? Simple. You get a report card.
And I'm not talking about just a single letter grade here. This is a super detailed report you get right inside the Bedrock console. You get the high-level summary scores, sure, but you can also drill down into charts and even look at the results for every single prompt you tested to see exactly where your model shines and where it struggles.
And this is where it gets really powerful. A/B testing. You can run two models side by side on the exact same test and get a clear, data-driven winner. Right here, you can see that on helpfulness, Model B is cleaning up with a score of 0.82. This is the kind of objective proof you need to confidently choose which model goes into production.
And these reports can surface some pretty surprising things. Imagine getting this result back. It says your model is giving great, complete answers, but whoa, it also has a dangerously high score for a specific thematic bias. This is the kind of critical insight, the hidden flaw, that evaluation is built to find, letting you fix a huge problem before it ever sees the light of day.
So, look, every single model out there has blind spots. You just can't see them without measuring. With this evaluation toolkit, you can finally move past just hoping your model works to actually knowing how it performs. So the only real question is, which of your AI's blind spots will you uncover first?